Welcome to Module H in our Garden School's educational programme, Crazy Compost. In this module, we shall discuss the process of composting, learn what materials can be used to make it, and how you can involve pupils in collecting these and building a bin for use at school. So let us start with the basics. What is compost? Compost is decomposed or rotting organic material. The process of breaking down this material is done by living organisms such as bacteria, fungi, worms, insects, and so on. In order for them to be able to do this, they need food, air, and water, just like us. The food is the material that you put into the compost bin, and we will examine this closer in a minute. For good composting to take place, there needs to be plenty of air. A good mixture of materials will provide lots of air pockets, but turning over your composting materials on a regular basis with a fork or a spade is effective too. Heat is important, as a hotter environment will break everything down faster. Water is also a key component, but as with everything in the garden, it is important that this is the right amount. If your compost looks too wet, you can add more food materials in the form of browns, and if it is too dry, then you can add greens or water from a can. When making compost, a 50-50 mix of browns and greens should be used. But what are these? Let's explore this further. Greens are nitrogen-rich materials that activate the composting process but can decay and become smelly on their own. Examples of this are grass cuttings, raw vegetables, fruit peelings, coffee grounds, leaves, soft green plants, and green weeds such as nettles. Be careful when putting weeds into your compost. Ones with tap roots or those in seed should not be put in, as they will contaminate the compost and potentially spread weeds to other parts of your garden when the compost is used. We would also recommend that the stalks and leaves of potato plants are not included in your compost in case any blight spores are present on these. Browns are carbon-rich materials and balance the greens but decay slowly on their own. Examples of these are cardboard from egg boxes, toilet roll inserts, kitchen roll, scrunched up or shredded paper, wood ash, hedge trimmings, and eggshells, amongst others. It is a good idea to put a layer of brown woody material like twigs at the bottom of the pile to help air circulate. Next, you can discuss composting and recycling with pupils. Some things like cans, bottles, and plastic that can be put into a recycling bin can't be put into our school compost. But less obvious things such as meat, fish, and cooked food shouldn't either, as they may attract unwanted guests like vermin. Playing games with picture cards and having pupils decide if they are browns, greens, recyclable but not compostable, or general waste help children to understand the composting that will take place in school and prevent any unwanted items going into the bin or heap once composting starts. Perhaps having tabletop caddies in each classroom for the collection of leftover pieces of snack items, such as fruit, would be a way of getting more greens into your school compost and encourage the whole school to take an interest. The location of a compost bin or heap on school grounds should consider the amount of light it will have and ease of access to it for the pupils. There are many different types of bin, and these can be researched online. The use of recycled wood from pallets to make one is a great way to continue the discussions about recycling and putting this into action. It also gives an opportunity for involvement by the wider community, providing assistance in the construction of the bin if your pupils aren't able to do it themselves. It can take between 1 and 2 years for compost to be ready to use. When it is dark and crumbly and has an earthy smell, then it is time for this nutritious material to be put to good use all around the garden. It can be spread as a mulch around the bottom of existing plants, dug into the soil where you're planning to plant, or combined with soil to use as a potting mix for you to grow seeds in. Compost helps provide some of the nutrients that plants need to grow and forms part of the nutrient cycle. It should be added to your garden bit by bit as it becomes ready to use. Compost helps to make healthy soil. Healthy soil means healthy plants, and healthy plants means healthy people. Nutritious compost and healthy soil are vital to the successful germination of seeds and growth of plants, and we shall look at seeds and germination in our next Garden School module.